Hi there. Welcome to today's episode of my 30-day journey on fractions, where I attempt to solve all fractions related problems that are essentially and specially selected from common entrance past questions, GSSE, SSE, and even SAT, which is standard aptitude test. So this is part 3 of our applications of mathematics on real-life word problems of fractions. But before we continue to the lesson, please, as usual, be kind and generous enough to click on the subscription button below this video to get notified whenever I release educative and academic lessons like this. See you in a bit. Okay, so our first question for today, basically all our questions for today is going to be all about sharing between a group or numbers of people. So for the first question of today says, Adele, Annabelle, Anna, and Awal shared a certain sum of money. Adele received half of it, Annabelle 1/4, and Anna 1/5. If Awal received 25 pence, what was the original sum of money? Now you will notice an odd thing about the question. And what's the odd thing? The odd thing is that when they mentioned the previous three sisters or the first three sisters, they gave us the fractions of money that they shared. That is half for Adele, 1/4 for Annabelle, and 1/5 for Anna. But when they got to Awal, they didn't give us the fractions of money received by Awal, but instead they gave us the amount, a fraction of amount given to Awal. So what do we do and how do we go about it? Simply, we just document out or write out the fractions of money received by the first three sisters. So let's start with Adele. Adele is equals to 1/2, and then Annabelle is equals to 1/4, and then Anna is equals to 1/5. While Awal, which is the fourth sister, that we weren't given the fractions of money received by Awal. So I'm going to put a question mark to show that we weren't given the fraction of money, but instead we were given the amount, the quantity of money that was given to Awal. So I'm going to open a bracket and write 25 pence. Now what does this mean? It means that we have to find the fractions that represent this quantity of money given to Awal. How do we find out? We simply find out by adding all the fractions of money received by the three sisters, and then we take it out from 1. Because don't forget, as I have been saying from the first day or from all the previous lessons, that you shouldn't forget that fraction is part of a whole, and a whole means 1. So all the three sisters, we are going to add up their fractions and then take it away from a whole. So let's go. So I'm going to say 1 whole, which is the entire money, the entire fraction of the money, minus what was given to the three sisters, so that we can get the quantity, the fractions of quantity of money given to Awal. So 1 minus half plus 1/4 plus 1/5, which was what was given to the three sisters. Then I put them in brackets to show that I'm doing the addition before the subtraction as BODMAS dictates. Okay, so LCM of 2, 4, and 5. And that is going to give us, I'm going to see right 1 minus, I'll bring it down, LCM of 2, 4, and 5, and that will give us 20. I'm going to rule a common denominator line and put 20 under there. Then I'm going to use each denominator of each of the fractions to divide our common denominator. Whatever result I get, I'm going to use it to multiply the numerator. That's how we've been doing it, and that's how I've been teaching you. Okay, so 2 in 20 we get 10. So 10 times 1, that will give us what? 10. Then plus 4 in 20, that will give us 5. 5 times 1, that will still give us what? 5. Plus then 5 in 20, that will give us 4. 4 times 1, and that will give us what? 4. So now let's evaluate this. So we are going to have 1 minus 10 plus 5 will give us 15. 15 plus 4, and that will give us what? 19/20. Now we have 1 minus 19/20. So how do we evaluate this further and go about this? We are going to rationalize 1. What do I mean by rationalizing? We are going to make 1 a fraction such that the denominator of the fraction is going to be the same thing as the denominator of the fraction that we have here. So that's what I mean by rationalizing. Okay, so and that would be, since the denominator here is 20, so I'm going to rationalize this one by making it by rationalizing it and making it a fraction of this denominator. So that would be 20 over 20, because in actual sense 20 over 20 will still give us what? 1. That's what I typically mean by rationalizing. So 20 over 20 minus 19 over 20. So I have rationalized this 1 whole to become 20 over 20, because 20 over 20 will still give us 1. And why did I make a choice to use 20? Because of the denominator here. We want to give the fraction a common denominator. I could have chosen to use 2 over 2. I could have chosen to use 3 over 3. But we are doing that, we are rationalizing it to make sure that they have what? The same denominator. So 20 take away 19, I'm going to add 1 over 20. So 1 over 20. So this 1 over 20 is the fraction left after taking away all the fractions of money given to the 3 sisters. So that means this 1 over 20 is for Anna. So I'm going to write, it's for Awal rather. So I'm going to write Awal's portion of fraction, or Awal's fraction, is equals to 1 over 20, which is this question mark. And then that 1 over 20 represents the quantity of money that Awal was given, which is 25 pence. So represent 25 pence. So if the entire money, if fraction of the entire money represents this 25 pence, if this fraction 1 over 20 of the entire money represents this 25 pence, that means 20 will be the entire money. So the main question, let's go back to the main question, which is what was the original sum of money? So I'm going to say sum of money, the sum of money is equals to, so as I was saying, if 1 over 20 of the entire money represents 25 pence, that is 1 out of this 20, 1 out of, take note of out of, as I am saying, 1 out of, that means the entire money is this 20, then 1 out of it is this 25 pence, it represents this 25 pence. So if 1 out of this 20 represents 25 pence, that means 2 out of this money represent 25 times 2. Then 3 out of this 20 represent 25 times 3. So that means 20, which is the entire money, will now be 20 times 25 pence. So the sum of money, and don't forget, we are meant to flip, to invert this fraction, then use it to multiply the quantity of money that represents its numerator. But then, because if we flip 20 over 1, 20 over 1 is still the same thing as 20. Okay, so 20 times 25, we are going to say 25 times 2, and that will give us what? 50. Then the 0 at the back of 2, we are going to add it. So this is 500 pence. And 500 pence, which is the same thing as 5 pounds. Okay, so the entire money, or the whole money being shared by the sister, is 500 pence or 5 pounds. And that is question number 1. Let's move on to question number 2 for the day. Now, question number 2 rather. 3 sisters shared some money. The oldest girl had 4 over 9 of the sum, while the middle received 3 over 5 of the remainder. What was the share of the youngest if she received the rest? So just like the first question, and like I said at the starting of this video, that today's episode is going to be focusing more on sharing between a group of people or numbers of people. Okay, so let's delve straight into the interpretation of the word problem. 3 sisters share sum of money. So let's look at the first sister. The oldest girl had 4 over 9. So I'm going to write that down to be oldest girl equals to 4 over 9. So if the oldest girl received 4 over 9, let's look at the second girl. While the middle received 3 over 5. So I'm going to write middle girl received 3 over 5, and then middle girl received 3 over 5 of the remainder. 3 over 5 of the remainder. What do they mean by 3 over 5 of the remainder? Now, if the oldest girl received 4 over 9, that is 4 out of 9 of the sum of money. 4 out of 9. Out of 9. That means if we take 4 out of 9, the remainder is 5 over 9. So the remainder out of this 4 over 9 is 5 over 9. So the middle girl now received 3 over 5 of the remainder. So we now know that the remainder is 5 over 9. So the middle girl received 3 over 5 of the remainder. The remainder is 5 over 9. So we find what can divide 5, 5, 1, 1, 3, 1, 3, 9, 3. So what do we have left? We have 1 times 1, that is 1. 1 times 3, that is 3. So that means the middle girl received 1 over 3. And then the question now says, what was the share of the youngest if she received the girl? So the youngest girl, I'm going to write youngest girl. So the youngest girl received the rest. Since the oldest girl received 4 over 9, the middle girl received 1 over 3. Typically, she received 3 over 5 of the remainder. That is remainder after the oldest girl receiving her own part of fraction of the money, which is 4 over 9, and then the remainder is 5 over 9. So the middle girl received 3 over 5 of the remainder from here, which is 5 over 9, and that's 1 over 3. So 1 over 3 for the middle girl. So to find the youngest girl, we simply do the same thing that we've been doing. What do? We know that fraction is part of a whole, and a whole means 1. So if the whole money, the entire sum of money is 1, then we take away what was received by the oldest girl and the middle girl from this 1. So the oldest girl received 4 over 9 plus 1 over 3 received by the middle girl. So the sum of what was received by the oldest girl and the middle girl will be taken away from 1, which is the whole money. So, and that would be 1 minus LCM of 9 and 3 will still give you 9. So 9 in 9, that is 1. So that 1 times this 4, we are going to have 4 here. So 3 in 9, that is 3. Then plus 3 times 1, 3 in 9, that is 3. 3 times 1, we get what? 3. So I'm going to evaluate this to become 1 minus 4 plus 3, that's 7 over 9. Now, 1 minus 7 over 9. So we are going to rationalize this 1 because this 1 is a whole number and then this is a fraction. So we are going to rationalize this 1 by making it a fraction of the same denominator of the same denominator with this. So and that will be that. So if you're rationalizing this 1 to become a fraction of the same denominator as this, it will now become 9 over 9 because in actual sense, 9 over 9 is the same thing as 1. So this way it is going to be easy for us to take away 7 over 9 from 1. So 9 over 9 minus 7 over 9, and that will give us what? 2 over 9. So that means the youngest girl is receiving 2 over 9 of the money, which is the rest. And that is that about question number 2. So let's move on to question number 3 for today's episode. All right. Question number 3. 3 brothers shared a certain sum of money. The first received 2 over 3 of it, and the second received 1 over 4. If the third brother received 30 naira, what was the original sum of money? So this is more or less like question number 1, wherein we are given the fractions for the first person and fraction for the second person, but then for the third person, we were given the quantity of money instead of the fraction. So what do? We table out each fraction for each person. So the first brother, into my first bro equals to first bro received 2 over 3, and the second received second bro received 1 over 4, and the third bro we don't know what fraction I was given to the third bro, but then we know the amount that was given, the amount of money given to the third bro, which is 30 naira. Now what does that mean? It means that we have to find the fraction that is meant for third bro. So how do we do that? We've learned that a fraction is part of a whole, and a whole means 1. So meaning that we have to add the fraction for the first bro and the fraction for the second bro together and take it from 1, which is the whole money, the entire money. So 1 whole minus what was given to the first brother, which is 2/3, plus what was given to the second brother, which is 1/4. And I'm going to enclose that in a bracket to show that we are solving this before we now take them away from 1 whole, which represents the entire fraction of money. Okay, so now 1 whole minus LCM of 3 and 4. We find the LCM of the denominator, which is 12. I'm going to rule a line for the common denominator. So the common denominator or the LCM is 12. Then I'm going to use each denominator to divide their common denominator, and whatever result we get, we use it to multiply the numerator. So that means 3 in 12, that is 4. The 4 times this 2, and that will give us what? 8. Then what we have in between them is plus. So 4 in 12, that is 3. Whatever we've gotten, which is 3, times this numerator, which is 1. So 3 times 1, we still have what? 3. And then I'm going to rewrite this to become 1 whole minus 8 plus 3, that gives us what? 11/12. Now 1 minus 11/12. So we are going to rationalize this one. Rationalizing this one means that we are going to make it a fraction such that the denominator will be the same thing as the denominator in the fraction at the right hand. So that will become 12/12 minus 11/12. Okay, so 12 minus 11, that is 1. We pick one of the common denominator, 1/12. So 1/12 of the fraction of the money is for the third row. Now the main question is, what is the original sum of money? So I'm going to make a demarcation here. So sum of money So meaning that this 30 naira represent this 1/12. 30 naira represent this 1/12. So if 30 naira for the third row represent this 1/12, that means 1/12. That means 1 out of this 12 of the entire money. 1 out of the entire money, which is 12, is 30 naira. So that means the entire money itself will be 12 times 30, and that is going to give us 36. So that means the entire money that was shared between the brother is 360 naira. So that is that about question number 3, and this is the final question, or the final question for today that we are going to tackle. See you in the next lesson. Please don't forget to click on the subscription button below this video to get notified of the subsequent lesson after this, and of course of more academic and educative and productive lessons that I will release. See you.